So, how's your prospecting going?
It's been going hot and cold. Some weeks have been really good. Some weeks have just been crickets.
I remember a week, or was it 2 weeks ago? I saw you in the office. You were putting together some handwritten notes, and you said you're going to make drops out of it. Did you get a good response from those at all? How'd that work out?
I got pretty much no response from those. I got
What?
one person that said, "Hey, thanks for dropping off, but not interested."
So
It's wild. And
well, I
it's
got one response then. You got one response. That's
yeah,
good.
sheesh. You'd figure at some point people would be like, you know what, they're busy and all that stuff, but it doesn't take any energy to be like, hey guys, or hey man, I'm not interested, or
Mhm.
I'm interested, just not right now. Like something.
Exactly. Well,
You know,
that's what I mean. I think it's a win when you get a solid
yeah, but
response,
one out
whether
of
it's a no.
10 or is not
That's
right.
true because you don't know if the nine other people even got your handwritten note. Ever mentioned FedEx overnight envelopes to you? The open rate on that it's 99%. Something
No,
ridiculously high.
I've done that before too, where I've sent direct. I did it once, but I dropped off. It wasn't just a note; it was a gift. So you would think at some point somebody would be like, this guy's been trying to reach out to me. Let me just tell him I'm not interested. But I guess
Would
that's just part of sales, right?
would you say though, right now, because we're in the dead heat of summer, it's a harder time to reach people because they might be on vacation. And I mean, it helps to check in with the assistant or someone to even check if they're available during.
I know they're there because I can see them opening my emails. But I think it's just the psyche of being a salesperson, right? You gotta just keep going. You can't let things get you in a bad place because this is a momentum game, right? You have to try to keep the momentum high as possible and have fun with it. Don't let things like that kind of bring you down because
Yeah.
ultimately this is what we do.
Well, then,
We have
so
to.
if people are there, right, and they're not replying, how do you confirm that they're actually getting the message and that's not the problem, right? Are you ensuring that people are getting your info and understanding, hey, there's a guy out here that wants to help me with this XYZ problem, right?
When I physically go there, obviously most of the time there'll be a gatekeeper and I try to make it a non-event, right? Like, I'm just dropping this off for so and so. And they're like, oh, cool, we'll make sure they get it. There's been a couple times where they're like, they'll just buzz me in and they're like, oh, leave it in the lobby. That's a little bit more challenging. And then you wait a day or two to call them back. And someone by your office just wanted to see you got my gift. And that's it. If you're able to reach them. If not, you leave a voicemail, send them an email and hope for the best. But there's definitely a balance between how you follow up, right? You don't want to seem desperate, but at the same time, you want your efforts to have some sort of ROI. And that's where it becomes challenging.
Well, let me ask you this then, because you said you used to have salespeople drop off tchotchkes and all sorts of stuff to you, but what seemed to work best to get your attention back in those days? Like, what would cause Ivan to reply to someone dropping their card off or some information, or besides the obvious, we have active pain in this area, so we need to seek this out. To find active pain is a needle in the haystack, right? So I'm talking about, all right, it's not on top of your mind. It is something
Yeah,
that
I
is,
think right now it's more of a commodity play, right? We're using that angle right now. It's the benefits is coming up. Let's chat about it because I know you're going to look at it anyways. Let's look at it. For me, in my past life, it was different just because I was always mid-level management, so I didn't necessarily have decision power on a lot of things that salespeople try to sell me. But I always try to treat them with grace. You try to help them if they can help our company. Let someone else to decide if it's going to work or not.
I'm at Starbucks right now
The
just to get
internet's
on a
kind
quick
of
Zoom. Yes, it is. I missed a lot of that, but we got to keep doing stuff, and I think trying new things isn't going to hurt. That's why I do want to go canvassing with you one time and record what we're doing, obviously with permission, and see where we get with that, and we'll critique each other, and maybe we'll get some people seeing what we do and see if we're making fools of ourselves for a good reason or it's a waste of time.
look. I think we've been talking a lot about our efforts when it comes to cold outreach. I'm thinking about sales outreach like a big pie, right? You got to have different buckets that are going to give you potential leads, right? So one
Sure.
of them obviously is cold outreach, which is probably the lowest rate. But then, you're really trying to get a hold of someone and do a little bit of due diligence, try to understand who are they connected with, maybe you that knows them
Yeah.
and try to find a back way to an introduction because I both know that. when you have the ability to meet someone through an introduction, it's
Mhm.
way more fruitful than just trying to knock on their door and be like, hey, you don't know me, but take a meeting with me.
No, and like the pie illustration, because usually salespeople talk about sales funnels, right? And I still view it as a funnel, right? The ADA funnel or whatever you want to call it. And at the top for me, awareness is going to be what's called cold outreach, right? And those are things like we don't want to spend that much time doing. If we can automate that, automate it, right? Are you doing anything to automate your cold outreach, top of the funnel activity? Because that should be the biggest part of doing, right? You're going to reach thousands of people at the top of the funnel. But the next level, the people who are interested in a discovery call, that's going to be 1 in 100, I don't know, 1 in 20. At that point, maybe that's where you step in and take an active or proactive involvement in the process. Um, Otherwise, I think you could automate a large part of the funnel, but obviously you have to be there for the discovery call. You have to be there for the analysis. You have to be there for the value development, the proposal and the close, and even the tech demo, right? Actually, I've closed my last 2 or 3 deals with no tech demo.
Yeah, me too.
Even though our technology is awesome, people are looking for our service solution, but figured out what parts I need to be closely tied to and involved with hands-on. I think cold outreach, we can automate that, man, right?
Yeah,
How
and I
about
think we do that through cadences and stuff like that too, to non-event and not spend too much time and energy making
mm,
that your number one prospecting tool because it's never going to work. The relationship business, you got to go out and meet people, and ultimately, I think that's how you're going to win the most deals.
but really even getting the discovery call, there's a way to automate that and have SDRs, but have you ever had an appointment set? Yeah, and I had one appointment
I've had
set
a
maybe
couple.
2 years ago. Yeah, yeah. Well, it doesn't happen that frequently for us.
No, especially at our tier level, definitely doesn't help happen too much, but it happens, but a surprise when it does, and you can't obviously put too much emphasis on the fact that you might get a network in your account and set up an appointment for you.
The COI introductions have been the most successful for me. So if I can scale that, that'll be very helpful. And I'm trying to even automate the process of establishing COI relationships, cultivating. Maybe I'll share some of that, let you know what works. Right now, still in the testing phase, some of that. I have maybe 3 solid COIs. That's not enough, right? That'll
No.
get me maybe like 3, 4 meetings a month. And when I'm trying to get 6 to 8, so that's the goal. Where are you in that? Would you say, you get a good 6 to 8 meetings in your COIs are automated?
Yeah, I mean, 80% of what I'm getting is all coming through referrals or, you know, there's some sort of common denominator through alumni associations and stuff like that, right?
Yes.
That's not like 100% there's something that's tying us together that I can exploit initially and then
Yeah.
open up to a conversation.
And you found your niche, right?
I'm sorry?
So you found your niche because you said something about alumni associations. Is that
Yeah. Yeah, off pretty well recently. So LinkedIn, great tool if you use it properly and how to do it. So that's been really good for me.
okay? Yeah, no, LinkedIn's good. Well, I actually have a COI who leverages his alumni association to help me get introductions. So if I ever see anyone in his network on LinkedIn, he is always more than happy to make an introduction. And he's the kind of guy who knows everyone. He has like 2,000 connections, and he says he's met each one in person and remembers something about like, each and every one connection. Yeah.
I know a lot of people, right? I think my problem is I haven't really articulated exactly what we do to help businesses. Like the real part, we express to them what it is that we really do to help businesses. Otherwise, there's not a
Well,
lot of,
I had a meeting this morning with a, and one of them was this so-called storyteller. I guess that's how he described himself. But he helps. I guess he's a marketing guy. But he had us go through this activity of answering 3 questions, and one of them was, if you could describe how you operate, how would you describe that?
as a salesperson.
Yeah. What are your core values? What are your core modus operandi? For better word?
I mean, I doubt, because if I did, I would be a lot more successful than I am. Um, there's not a lot you can control, right? And so I think that's where it becomes a little challenging to understand, okay, what really does work? Because sometimes certain things work, but they don't continue to work. And I think that's where you got to be adaptable and really keep consistency alive because I think ultimately that's the only thing that's going to work is being consistent to your calendar, consistent to your outreach, to your effort, because this is a numbers game and it's a touches game, right? Like,
I realize I haven't had a chance to articulate my story or what I do, but you obviously have to earn the right to do that with someone. Otherwise, you're just walking up to strangers who you don't know and saying, "Hey, I can help grow your business." And that's why I love this exercise because I've never thought about that, and I realize I'm very entrepreneurial, right? So my goal is to make things more efficient and solve problems the most efficient way possible and scale those solutions across businesses. People don't care about that, right? I care about that. I think that'll help the business community at large. But when you're talking to an individual, if you don't bother to ask what they care about, right? It doesn't matter because we can do all these great things, but they might not care about what we care about. So
yeah.
we first you got to figure out what makes you tick and why that message isn't connecting, maybe.
The irony behind it is that, our 20 to 50 employee range, right?
Mhm.
And at that employee range level, like we really
No, the fact that you just mentioned 20 to 50 range, to me, it tells me that's where your core beliefs about what we do lie, right? You believe that you're going to help 20 to 50 range, and there's a specific reason why, right? 20.
I mean, think of our company even started. It was to help small to mid-sized companies. It wasn't to help enterprise or mid-market sized companies. Um, the core of what we do is to help those businesses that have a big gap in HR and to attract and retain employees and having the bandwidth to do the things that we help them and support them to do. But a lot of these companies, they're just running a million miles a minute. And even though I know we can help them, they just don't have a second to stop. And that's where the challenge lies. It's like, if you just give me 10 minutes, I'm going to show you how we can really help you. And I know we can. But these companies, again, they're not in the business of doing what we do. And so it seems a little bit intangible at times when you're trying to talk to them and they're just like, nah, I got a business to run.